I'm Jim Whitston, the lead campaign designer. Okay, Total War Warhammer II is the second part in a trilogy of games which marries the tabletop game of fantasy battles, Warhammer Fantasy Battles, with the epic scale computer Total War franchise, which is marrying of a turn-based strategy game where you build an empire, taking over cities, building armies, using those armies to conquer new cities. That's married to real-time tactical battles of an epic scale. Total War, we've been making Total War games for 15 years, and we've always used a historical context for all of our games. So taking on the Warhammer franchise was a big departure for us, including fantasy content, but it was a perfect match using Warhammer content because they have this huge history within all of the 15 army books. There's a whole library of other books backing that up. So there's a history there, that, albeit a kind of fantasy invented history, but it's fully featured, totally rich, full of amazing characters and stories. So whatever we want to do as designers for our game, there's a precedent there in those books, and also we get ideas jumping out at us from those books as well. So the games that we've made in the past, huge battles of epic scale with thousands of men fighting it out, and there's a rock, paper, scissors kind of dynamic where different units can be used to counter other units. So we've got that firm base that we've been doing that for 15 years. Now we've layered on top of that huge creatures, giants, dragons, massive dinosaur type creatures that the lizard men have, flying creatures, individual heroes and lords who can be throwing incredibly powerful spells or mounted on one of these huge creatures themselves. So it's added a whole new strata to what Total War was in the past. I think traditionally Total War has been looked on as quite a hardcore PC franchise, but we've done a lot of work to make it much more accessible to new players, because obviously we're fans of Warhammer, we're fans of Total War, and we want to bring as many people with us on that journey. So we've done a lot of work with preludes in the campaign that take players' hands, guide them into what the mechanics are of whatever race they're playing. We'll take them into battles, how to go about winning those battles, and then we have an advisor in the game who's constantly adding advice into that as well. The missions that we offer during the campaign also serve to kind of guide the player into the kind of things that they should be doing. So, and each of the races in the game are very different from each other in terms of not just the units that they can field on the battlefield, but also the campaign mechanics, and that's something that we've really focused on in this second game, so that each of the races feels very different to each other to play, and that's something that's drawn from the tabletop game, which we played a lot of ourselves. Obviously, in making these games, it quickly becomes apparent that some of them have holes in their rosters, like the vampire counts that we had in the first game had no missile units. So the temptation as designers there is to start warping the source material to fit what it is that we've made as games before, but we very quickly reached the conclusion, no, we're trying to do a homage to this amazing world that Games Workshop have created, and it would just be wrong to start warping it in that way. So we embraced that, we took it further with the campaign mechanics as well. So each race you play, it feels like a totally fresh game as you start a new campaign with that race. It's both, and it's also a kind of a third group as well. So yeah, our game, as I say, has been out there for 15 years. Adding this new kind of feel to it, this new content and everything adds to what seasoned Total War players have seen before. The tabletop players, yeah, they've been playing the tabletop game, but to see those models come to life on the screen in such a visceral way is a thrill for them. And then just the sheer spectacle of seeing a carnosaur, like a giant T-Rex creature that the lizard men have, having a fight with a dragon on a battle map with magic spells going off in the background and heroes and lords wading into huge groups of men. Just the spectacle of that is also going to bring in just gamers in general, just because that's just such an amazing thing to see on the screen. Yeah, September 28th this year, so yeah, we're really looking forward to that. People who bought the first game and also buy the second game, about a month after we release this second game for free, we're releasing a giant campaign map which joins the two land masses from those two games together. All of the races from those two games will be there playable, and it's great to be able to do that for free.